The wail of sirens pierced the cold night air as 27-year-old Grace Harper was rushed through the emergency room doors of St. Augustine Hospital. Her face was pale, drenched in sweat, and her grip on the stretcher rails was iron tight. Labor pains racked her body, each contraction stronger than the last. This wasn't how Grace imagined welcoming her first child, alone, terrified, and without her husband Daniel, who was away on a business trip. Before we dive in, let us know where you're watching from today. Have you ever encountered a moment when something just didn't feel right? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more gripping stories. Nurses scrambled as Dr. Marcus Reed, a seasoned obstetrician, entered the room with practiced urgency.
Get her to labor room 2, fetal monitors on and prep for possible complications.
He barked. Grace, barely conscious through the pain, felt a cold hand grasp hers. A young nurse, Emily, offered a comforting smile.
You're doing great, Grace. Just breathe. We'll take care of everything.
But as the fluorescent lights blurred above her, a nagging fear crept in. Something was wrong. She could feel it deep in her bones. Hours later, Grace's screams echoed off the sterile walls. Dr. Reed's face remained impassive as he guided the delivery.
You're almost there, Grace. One more big push.
Emily encouraged. With every ounce of strength, Grace bore down, waiting for the inevitable, beautiful sound of her baby's first cry. But the room fell into an eerie silence. No cry, no movement, only the beeping of machines. Dr. Reed frowned.
There's no heartbeat. I'm sorry. The baby didn't make it.
Grace's world shattered. Her mind reeled. No, that can't be. I need to see her. Please let me hold her. Dr. Reed exchanged a glance with Emily.
We'll bring her to you soon. Rest for now.
But Grace knew. Something felt deeply, terribly wrong. Later that night, Grace begged to see her daughter one last time. Nurse Emily hesitated, but eventually led her to the morgue. Inside, under the cold, sterile lights, Grace spotted a small, still figure wrapped in a white blanket. But beside her baby lay another infant, alive, breathing softly. Dr. Reed, appearing suddenly, swiftly moved to block her view.
You shouldn't be here. Please return to your room.
But Grace couldn't unsee it, the healthy baby, and Dr. Reed's tense expression. Why was a living baby in the morgue? Back home, Grace spiraled into grief, but couldn't shake the unease. While sorting through her hospital paperwork, she noticed discrepancies in the documents, a different birth time, mismatched ID numbers. She retrieved the baby blanket the hospital had given her, only to notice initials stitched into the corner. M.R. Dr. Marcus Reed. Why would his initials be on her baby's blanket? Driven by suspicion, Grace returned to the hospital under the guise of requesting medical records. She discreetly followed Nurse Emily, catching snippets of hushed conversations among staff. In a restricted wing, she glimpsed Dr. Reed handing a baby to a woman Grace didn't recognize. The baby wore a distinct bracelet, one Grace knew belonged to her own child. Emily caught Grace hiding. Torn between loyalty and conscience, Emily confessed.
Dr. Reed, he's involved in something. Babies are being switched, Grace. You need to leave now.
But Grace couldn't. Not without her baby. Grace burst into Dr. Reed's office. "Where is my baby?" she demanded. Dr. Reed's calm facade cracked.
You wouldn't understand. It's for the greater good.
Before he could say more, hospital security arrived. Grace had secretly recorded their exchange and sent it to Daniel, who had contacted the authorities. Police swarmed the hospital, uncovering a black market adoption ring. Dr. Reed was at the center, orchestrating illegal infant swaps for profit. Among the rescued infants was Grace's baby, alive and well. Dr. Reed was arrested, along with several complicit staff. The hospital faced national outrage and underwent severe restructuring. Grace, holding her daughter tightly, testified against Reed. Nurse Emily, hailed as a hero, provided critical evidence that dismantled the operation. Months later, Grace and Daniel sat in their sunlit living room, their baby, now officially named Lily, sleeping peacefully in Grace's arms. Daniel kissed Grace's forehead. "She's safe now. We're safe," Grace smiled softly. No more secrets, no more fear, just us. The nightmare was over, and for the first time in months, Grace truly felt whole. What would you have done if you were in Emma's place? Do you think justice was truly served, or could there be more secrets hidden within those hospital walls? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next thrilling tale.